Hello, everyone. It's Michael Jacob with Unleashing Intuition Secrets. Still getting amazing emails and condolences for my son's loss. So really appreciate that. Now, a lot of you have spoken about your own losses, and it's staggering. Unfortunately, how many people have lost loved ones over the years. I think that's part of the deep state attack on us guys. So it's happening, for many of us, and you can't take that, out of context with the other things that have happened to not only Americans but the world, of course, through the deep state attack. Now, the deep state, a bunch of cowards, do not like to, personally engage with people because that would be scary for them, right? So they come after us in many and various and sundry ways. One of those, of course, is that C19 thing, right? So I'm gonna call C. I'm gonna call that 19 is the letter S in the alphabet. So we know there's a 17 is Q and 19 is S. So we have CS, kind of like when I was in the military. We had CS gas. We threw canisters. I got sprayed. So we'd have to go in like this big room and take your gas mask off and see how it sucked really bad, right? See how basically you couldn't see and you coughed and couldn't breathe, and it's crazy. So very, very, very crazy. Hey, Katie. So lots of things. So you guys, I know a lot of you guys saw my show yesterday where I talked about the judicial side is basically they're starting to be arrested. We had a judge arrested, right? Protecting illegal, what part of illegal judge did you not understand? So, and you're supposed to be upholding our laws. And so this judge, I guess, was trying to protect illegal aliens, and she was arrested. That's a huge thing. And like I said yesterday, and I said like over a week ago, I think 9 days, 10 days ago, something like that, we would have to see the judicial side basically being taken out before we saw a more massive takedown of the deep state happening. So we're seeing it. We're seeing it happening across the board, not only for the judicial members themselves, but we're also seeing it for, take for instance, the guy that used to run New York, the governor of New York, Andrew Cuomo, right? So Cuomo is under investigation now. We have Wikipedia is under investigation now. So that's the media, MK Ultra arm of, and we'll talk a little bit more about all these in detail, but we're seeing a lot of this stuff being exposed. So one of the biggest things that I saw that came across my feed, my awareness, was that a chemtrail arrests are being made. Wow. So now, if that's real, that's pretty significant, and I'll talk about that as well. So we're going to go into detail about a lot of these things. A lot of these things affect all of us. The deep state is trying to take us down. That CS gas, right? So some of you guys are going to get confused by that. I'm sorry. It's just the way it has to be here on a platform that censors free speech. But the CS was something we all warned about, and that it was coming. I talked about how it was coming. I was kind of like Paul Revere with the CS coming from China. I remote viewed it. I saw it all. I saw how it came in, everything. So President Trump called it the Wuhan flu, and that's pretty much what it was. It was a flu that basically they built up the casualty numbers so that it became very obvious that something had to be done, but it wasn't, because it was a big fat lie. In some cases it wasn't, like the Cuomo thing in New York. That was deliberately killing people. So I think he's probably going to be, he may be the first. And I said this a long time ago. I said that Cuomo would be the first one to go. I said Gavin Newsom would follow, and I said the third would be who's that? Whitmer. So Whitmer, right? So I have to be careful with some of these names, I guess. So But we all know who Whitmer is. All right. She's up in the northern states, right? So it's coming. It's coming. So Cuomo went pretty quick. We have seen probably a body double of Newsom, and we have seen Whitmer basically has disappeared. She was very prominent. She at one time may have been because she was so effective in being a witch that she was very prominent in the Dem Party. You know that what's that one? So MS-13. So Dems 13 group. So it is. We have to laugh about this stuff because these people are psychopaths and they're trying to kill us, right? And we have to align. We have to work together to stop this nonsense. Otherwise, they'll kill us en masse again. Will it be another CS type event? Possibly. There's always that possibility. These guys, like I said, they don't fight with bullets as much anymore because we're kind of getting smart about that. We're not going to war for them anymore. Getting motivated to do that. The Europeans are not getting motivated to join in Ukraine, although they convinced Ukraine to go to war with Russia. So that's one thing. Or instigated war with Russia, and now they have a war, and they're getting decimated. Ukraine is getting decimated by Russia. Ukrainian fighting force, and then I just saw where some high-level person in the CIA, his son was fighting in Ukraine. He was killed. So Nazis got a Nazi, right? And there's a lot of them that are dying there in Ukraine right now. So that's what we're going to continue to see. And I'm like, go fight that war. Go to the Russian front, just like back in World War II, they sent you to the Russian front. From Germany, you're basically going to go bye-bye. That's the way Russia handles that situation. They're doing a really good job. So now they've basically taken back the Kursk region where Ukraine had did their Battle of the Bulge. I called it the Battle of the Bulge. And now we're seeing Ukraine all across the front basically collapsing their battlefront. Even though you have sons of the CIA fighting Ukraine. Now, I wonder if that father is distraught as I am, that his son has died fighting the good cause for the Nazi Party of America. So I don't know. Maybe I don't like to see any death, but we are at war with the deep state, and it is something that we're going to see their side get decimated. So one of those decimation things that we're seeing right now. And because these guys don't fight fair, they don't come out and, because the CS thing that they did, they came in with that thing to win the arm. So they had all these deaths all over the place that, you got a motorcycle accident. They tested you at the hospital. It's like, yep, it was CS. All right. And if you had cancer and went in and you died of cancer, they did a test and you had CS because everybody had CS with those tests, right? It didn't matter if you were sick or not, but I'm not sick. Yeah, but you are. It's the only flu in history where, they test you and you're like not even sick, no symptoms whatsoever, but yet you're sick, right? So it is something that they did that. So this is a deep state murder machine that's better than any war that they've ever run, guys. There are serious numbers out there, and they're hiding these numbers on a major scale. So let's talk about hiding numbers and how Cuomo is in big trouble. I wonder if Cuomo is pooping his pants because they're basically coming after him. So he is kicked out of being New York governor because supposedly, and probably did, was doing sexual harassment and maybe even sexual. So he's just a bad man sexually, right? So, and women came out. So the Dems are really tough on that, right? Even if you didn't do that, like President Trump, they'll come after you. So they're hardcore about that. So because they're so hardcore about it, if someone actually comes out and accuses one of their fellow Dems, they have to like let them go, right? So that's what happened with Cuomo, and I think the reason why they let him go with it, I think they built that up because we know how all these women come out against people they don't like and they want to destroy. It could be a Supreme Court judge, it could be the President of the United States, or someone running for President of the United States. It could be anyone. This is a deep state method of destroying somebody, so they can't get elected, or they take them out of office. So Cuomo was getting a lot of heat for putting a lot of seniors in nursing homes that had CS. All right, they were in hospitals and they were still sick, and they put them in nursing homes. And this was on purpose to raise those CS death counts, right? So Cuomo, he's trying to hide every trick in the book, trying to hide the New York seniors who died under his March 25th Department of Health nursing home mandate. His own Attorney General, Letitia James, wow, that went after Trump and is now herself under a criminal referral to Pam Bondi's DOJ for mortgage fraud, which she accused President Trump of, issued a report in January 2021, which stated Cuomo had undercounted their nursing home deaths by as much as 50%. So he's trying to hide it, and they're still undercounting, guys. And I think it's a lot more than 50%. They're hiding the numbers of people that are still dying. So if you get that thing in your arm and you get a loaded gun, a loaded bullet that has gone into your arm, because not all of them were loaded. When Trump was trying to push them out as fast as he could before he got replaced in office, those were like a lot of saline and probably those things which I used to say on this platform and got me taken down, that were very effective at knocking hell out of, like Trump says, knock hell out of it. And he says that for a lot of things, of that CS, right? It knocked hell out of that CS. And so once, and I warned people about this because I had insider information long before the shot in the arm came around. So like I said, some of those shots were were bullets, and some were not. And that was because if they loaded all those shots with bullets, then it would become very obvious to people. So some of those shots affected people over a long period of time, years. So the criminals can always have deniability. They can say, "Oh no, there's no way that happened." You have children that are getting those things in the arms, and they're going autistic by a massive number. So it's I say don't do that thing in the arm, right? It's better for you, right? I don't do them. Haven't done them for years. All the people that I've talked to that have never done them are healthy, very, very healthy. All their kids, all their grandkids, all healthy, right? We have a God-given immune system that is very effective, and it will prevent most things out there. Yes, there's things you can do to prevent that. There's vitamins you can take. There's get out in the sunshine, and all the workout. Be healthy, walk, jog, whatever. Be healthy, and you're gonna pretty much prevent a lot of stuff from coming in. And there's obviously stuff you can take once you become infected with something. Then there's lots of things out there you can use. So Cuomo said there were 8,505. That's the one that he released. That's still an extremely high number. But the actual number was 12,743. So we've known this for a long time. He was a bad man on many different levels, not just sexually offending women, but also doing, killing people, right? Killing people through his, his things that he put out there. So I would say that I've said this for a long time. I thought that, once he left the scene, that behind the scenes, that basically he got taken in but maybe they saved it for now, so they could, make this a case, because he was running for New York mayor, New York City mayor, and I was like, is he really going to do that? He's going to get busted by New Yorkers, and sure enough, I think he's right on the cusp of being arrested. That's a massive thing. That's truly an incredible thing that we could be seeing. Yes, definitely. LifeWave X39 has helped a lot of people, and I highly recommend that have CS, right, or have had CS shots and all that kind of stuff. All right, so we may see old Cuomo be one of the first people to be arrested. That would be amazing. So it is generally believed that likely double that number. So like I said, around 20,000 died in New York nursing homes and hospitals. So that made a lot of fear, brought people to the point where, all right, we need you to do something, anything. And that's where Operation Warp Drive came in. And of course, then once Trump was gone, they released the real baddie, right? And the real bullets in those shots. So that's what we saw with that. It's coming to the point, I believe, where people are going to start being held accountable. All right. So what else do we see out there? So I talked yesterday also of how the Dem Party is basically trying to destroy tradition. They have Fetterman without suit, and which I don't really care, but they're going to destroy. They had that Georgie Floydy guy that was pretty much a criminal and a bad man in many different ways. They made him out to be a hero, kind of like the Dems did the MS-13 guy, made him out to be a hero, and he was a bad man. Weren't even his children, right? They're saying, oh, he has children and his wife is like beaten by him, and he's like, no, she's like, no, I don't want him around me. And he's like he's a father figure. No, there's not even his children. Wow, the things we're learning. Thank you very much. That you are the first super chatter since I've never in the history of Silver Story. Thank you. That's pretty cool. So in the history of doing YouTube, I've never gotten a super chat. So Silver Story, you are number one. I was waiting for somebody to do that, and you are the first. So you got that. You got that going on. So thank you for that. All right. So now, and that just caught my eye, so that was cool. So we have, this is basically blowing up in the Dems. Their narratives and so forth. They can't go on the Wikipedia, wiki, like Wikipedia. All right, they can't go on there and lie because that's getting exposed too, and that's under investigation because people come in there, deep staters, foreign entities, and so forth. They come in there, change the real truth, the real story, real history, change it. That's bad. That's very bad. So we're seeing, that's been happening in news media for quite some time. They haven't been held accountable that much, but of course, Trump has won many very high income suits. Speaking of suits, Fetterman doesn't like them, but he has won some very, very nice suits, right? Or lots of money that he could, buy lots of suits because he likes to wear nice suits. He's a short-dressed man, like ZZ Top would talk about. So desperate Dems use profanity and attempt to snag votes. So they're using the F word. They're F-bombing. The rise of dark woke, right? So typically, that's not done. Usually wear a suit and tie when you are in the political game. They're trying to destroy that. They tried to destroy during George Floyd's riots, monuments and so forth. That's what they do. They try and change and destroy history. So you have no foundation. This is one of the things that they've done throughout time in communist countries. So communism, they use communism in a lot of countries. They've been putting deep state's been putting communism in a lot of countries over the years, and it's very effective to control people, and that's what they want to do. So yeah, maybe when the stock market crashes, which it will, maybe if the stock market will go up in a super bubble. It hasn't reached super bubble status yet, but it could, or it could from here because it looks like it has a double top, like I talked about. You go all the way back to the COVID. Now, remember when it was crashing back in 2008, 2009, 11, uh, and the housing was crashing. Housing's crashing now, and we had a big downturn in the stock market. But the Fed came in and boosted it and sent it up a little bit, right? If you look back through all the other crashes throughout history, you look at the crash of, uh, let's say, .com crash, that was pretty significant. If you look at the crash during Carter's time, Jimmy Carter, used to be the worst president ever, and then we have Joe Biden, made it a lot worse. Remember that picture where Joe Biden and his wife went and visited Jimmy Carter and his wife in in Georgia, and the Carters looked like midgets. And I said, this is what this picture means. The Bidens are going to make what the Carters did look like midgetry. And sure enough, they did. Right. So that's kind of the way they play the game. So during Carter's administration, massive stock market crash all the way through that era. Very, very bad. It was so bad that I had to go to the military because there's no jobs. So it was so bad I had to go chase my dream of a lifetime, become a Navy SEAL. So it was very, very interesting during that time frame. It was significantly stock market crashing, and you have to go all the way back to 1929, where we had another significant stock market crash. So all the way up to 1929, the stock market was up and down, kind of like what it's doing right now, guys. So, is the stock market going to crash in 1929? Is it going to crash now? Maybe, right? I think it's a possibility. I think we'll see the stock market do a little double test of the last bottom that we just saw, or maybe it's just going to go higher from today or tomorrow, Monday. You never know how these guys are going to manipulate this thing. But one thing is for certain: they manipulate the stock market, and they will crash the stock market, and you will have an elimination of your income, your savings, your retirement. It will be eliminated. A lot of people will have theirs eliminated. So it will be on Trump's, because a lot of people are not liking Trump right now, saying he's basically driving the economy. They're whining because he's doing the right thing. It should have been done decades ago, and he's going to get all the blame. So they set him up for the blame. We know that. That's the way it is. But if you were going to have a stock market crash like we're going to have, that's the biggest one, deepest one in the history of the United States, then you would want someone like Art of the Deal author, President Trump, to be at the helm, which he is going to be. Now, he called the stock market bottom. He said this is a good time to buy it up. And wow, the stock market turned around and went up. But will it go down, and will it break that low that it just did? So again, we'll see. It is one of those things that these guys will never let you know exactly what's going to happen. They will fool you, and they will manipulate the stock market, and it will crash. And most people, just like we saw in those other downturns, I remember my dad was big in real estate. As a family, we were very successful. And then during that time frame, same thing, real estate, sold off like crazy, crashed, and the properties that he owned and him selling properties that he made income on all disappeared very quickly. So we went from, I'd say, middle class to very low middle class, maybe actually in the po-po side. But it is what it is. We lived in a nice house, and then we lived in a trailer, and kind of the way things went back then. So it was tough, and that was when your boy basically said, "I'm out, go in the military. If I got to live in this little hole of a room, then might as well do it in a bunkhouse somewhere." Same thing, and swim, blow stuff up, and shoot. So it worked out pretty good. So, wow, amazing, incredible things that are happening right now. Uh, Kanye West gets banned from Twitch in just 7 minutes after Hitler salute. So they're showing you what's going to get banned. Anything like my former, German, you know, Panzer Nazi type thing. Who knows? Maybe social media won't like that. So they don't like a lot of things. It's hard to guess. I've been through this rigmarole, but I think things may have changed. I think we're on the right track. So maybe I can get away with a few things that I wouldn't have been able to get away with, and I wouldn't even have a channel just a few months ago. So it's Bernie Sanders, who is a communist and got married in communist back then Soviet Union. Got married there. That's where he went to go get married and hang out with all the communist people in Russia. So Bernie Sanders, the Democrats lack vision for the future. So this communist from Vermont has the great way to rule America. Of course, he rises, and then the Dems take him out. He rises, and then the Dems take him out. As far as like a presidential, so he rose against Hillary Clinton, and they took him out, and he rose against Biden, and then they took him out. But what's crazy about that? This communist, he has these luxury homes, there's several of them now. And it's like, wow. So communism is working for you really good. So I thought everybody was supposed to be on the same sheet of music here. So he is basically pushing the real form of communism, which is only the people at the top, make the money, and everybody else is like they want to do. We know they want to do this. The World Economic Forum said that you will own nothing and you will like it. And that's where they're pushing things. So this coming economic shock that will rock the world and will be the deepest stock market crash in history. And the speed of it will destroy people before they can get out. So I've been recommending people get into silver, gold. If you like shiny stuff, get into it. Get into precious metals. I think silver is your best bet, and you can move it over and buy more gold at some point. But who knows? It might be the same thing. They might suppress silver like they've been doing for a long time. They may destroy silver, so it can't go up. I don't know. My thought is, if everything runs the way it has before, then silver is going to rocket higher and faster than gold. And it could at some point be 1-to-1 with gold. And we know that gold is going to go a lot higher than it is right now. 4,000 is in eyesight of the shiny stuff. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. It's interesting. So, we have the transgender thing. We have RuPaul's Drag Race star Jiggly Caliente dead at 44 days after leg amputation. So did some of that jiggly stuff leak, and there was a problem with that? Who knows, right? So who knows what kind of things they do? We have these men that want to be women, and women, I guess, that want to be men. They do hormone things, and they, take all kinds of different drugs. So we don't know. Maybe some of this stuff is very toxic to the body, very highly possible. So very, 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 very sad. I don't like to see anybody die for anything, really. Zelensky says meeting with Trump and Vatican potentially historic. What does that mean? Inquiring minds want to know, but they lead us along, and that's probably going to be a nothing burger. I think I see the Russians basically hammering them, and that's going to continue, and they're going to gain more territory. I've said that they're going to be moving across Ukraine on a massive scale, and that's been going on. That's been ongoing now for over a year, going on a year and a half now. So I don't think it's going to stop. So no one wants to go over there on a large scale, other than a few mercenaries that get highly paid and fight for Ukraine. So that's basically what we're seeing right now. Now, the other person that's starting to get into the spotlight, because you're going to have Bernie Sanders, who's always there, and they're always testing the waters. Let's see how far we can push the communist thing, right? And Dems just flood him. They love Bernie because Dems, I guess, want communism. But communism never works, my Democrat friends. Look through history, and you guys are like really pushing us towards that. You look at places where the Dems have been in, very strong for a long time. Detroit destroyed, San Francisco being destroyed, LA being destroyed, Seattle being destroyed. We can go on. Of course, New York is being destroyed. Right? Pritzker from Illinois. Headlines New Hampshire fundraiser. So he's in the running for 2028. So you get the big fat man and you get the little skinny communist, right? So Pritzker is a billionaire. I don't know if he's a multi-billionaire, but his family is has billionaire status. Remember when those things we wipe our booties with it was hard to find those? His family owns large controlling options in the toilet paper business. How about that? And God, it was just one of those things that just people just bought like crazy to stock up, and it just was hard to find on the shelves. I think it was harder to find than eggs, chicken eggs. Of course, the chicken egg thing is turning around, and magically the same thing happened with toilet paper. After people were like not playing the game enough, I guess they could control everybody. They basically started putting it back on the shelves, or somebody did. I don't know if his family did, but somebody like stepped up and put it back on the shelves. That's good. 800 illegal aliens rounded up in a 4-day Florida ICE raids. So I'm pretty happy about that, being a Florida boy right now. But ICE is saying we're coming for you. That's a promise. I like that. And they should come for everybody in every state, because they've infiltrated everywhere, guys. So a driver rams SUV into Vancouver festival. So we know we're moving into elections on Monday. So you got stuff like this that will usually pop up. So a driver, and it seems like the driver was an elderly, and he when the police came, he was sorry for what happened. I'm sorry that I pushed on the gas pedal and killed 9 people and wounded many, many more at a Filipino festival they're having. And after having gone to Philippines for many years, when I was at SEAL teams on the west coast of the United States, I love Filipino food. That must have been a great festival. So very, very tragic, sad for the Filipinos that died, and probably a lot of other people, because I would have been, if I was in Vancouver, I would have been going to that festival. It's great food. So very sad. All right. So promises kept. Trump's HUD approves $1.4 billion to rebuild North Carolina after Hurricane Helene, deep state hurricane. All right. So we're moving in the right direction. Of course, a lot of the people in the Dems 13 party, or Dems 13 party, they're not liking it. They're not liking that Trump is being successful. So they're going to hammer him. And that's kind of what happens. So Kennedy Center cancels Pride Month events, angering LGBTQIAAP2S+ cultist. Right? I don't know what any of that means. That's the latest number. So it's got double Q there. So is that like a military, intelligence operation going on there? I don't know. Funny stuff. And so the other things that I have along those lines. So Trump is like kicking some serious deep state booty. And of course, when you have the leftist media, they have to downplay that. People are loving Trump, but he has strangely, he has the lowest 100-day approval rating in 80 years. So you know where the last lowest rating was in his first term in his 100 days. Right? So now it's even worse. So Trump was 42% in 2017. And this goes back, I guess, 1945. Right. 1945, how about that? 1945, that was Trump's first term as 45th president. So you got to watch these numbers. I watch these numbers. They like to play games. They like to play God. They think they're God when they can play with the numbers like this, and push in your face. The previous low in approval, like I said, was dating back to 1945. Was Trump's 42% in 2017. So what's this one at? So the 100-day approval rating, drum roll please, of any president in the past 100 years with public pushback on many of his policies. So where is it? This is like 33% or something, 39% I think I saw. I'm not seeing it now. Drum rolling. Okay, so here it is. Trump pledged to curb, or 62% said prices, which as a candidate, Trump pledged. So if the economy goes down, they're going to hate the president. It doesn't matter who it is. All right. That's the way it is. And so there's lots of things they don't like. I saw somewhere it was 39%. So I guess it's 39%. So I'm looking at this ABC News polling and news article, and they're not even saying the number. So they just talk about the last time number, which leads me to believe they manipulated it, right? And I'm pretty sure they did, right? They manipulated it back in the 2017. They're manipulating it now. So true to their manipulations, they're still manipulating it. So most of us are loving the way things are moving, and that's the way it's going to be for the foreseeable future. So U.S. Attorney goes after propaganda mill Wikipedia. U.S. Attorney Ed Martin, love that guy, is one of the highlights of this administration, Trump administration. Currently, he is pursuing the propaganda vehicle known as Wikipedia. It is propagandized, propaganda for the far left and foreign enemies. Foreign enemies? We're talking about China? China. I saw this one funny thing. My daughter shared it. She and Michelangelo were like, they were little crack ups. Get those two together, you're cracking up. So my daughter Ashley shared with Michelangelo, and they were like sharing back and forth. This one comedian that was a Trump impersonator. So if you couldn't see him, it sounded like Trump. He had all the mannerisms, the sayings, how Trump says stuff. It's going to be, I can't even repeat how he did it. He was so good. And then you see he's a Chinese guy, and it's like, and he's a little beefy, and he's got on a suit. He's got on a Trump wig. So it's hilarious. So he goes into a Chinese restaurant. And he wants to order Chinese food. He's like, I'm going to go check out this restaurant and see, what they got. I want some Chinese food, and I'm going to like see if this is something kind of like the art of the business, the art of the deal type thing. He goes in, and this cowboy comes up, but it's an Oriental guy, and he's talking like a cowboy, and he's telling him, well, you don't like what we got, you can go back to your country. It's so funny. And he was sounding like a Western guy, but he's an Oriental looking guy, with a Western hat, Western clothes. And Trump is like, is this a Chinese restaurant? You do Chinese food here? It's like, yeah, we do Chinese food. If you don't like it, if you don't like your waiter, you can go back to your country. It's hilarious. God, it's had me cracking up. So these two are like, little crack ups. So, they were cracking up just even up to the point where my son passed over. So very, very funny. So we see, as a 501c3, they must operate. So that all these companies that are on, so the charitable, I guess, so forth, They take charity from people. They have every year they ask for donations, and I used to donate to them a long time ago because I got a lot of information from them to do my books when I was writing and all the other stuff that I was doing. I thought they were good, and then I started to see some anomalies in the information they're putting out, and it didn't quite fit. So they must operate exclusively for religious, charitable, scientific, testing for public safety, literary, or educational purposes. So Martin writes that Wikipedia allows foreign actors to manipulate information and spread propaganda to the American public. So is that Chinese? They permit manipulation on their platform, including the rewriting of key historical events and biographical information of current and previous American leaders, as well as matters implicating national security and the interest of the United States. So I was doing a show with Derek Johnson, and just by chance, I put Derek Johnson's name in while I was doing the show with him, and Wikipedia did a hit piece on him, on Derek Johnson. And I told Derek on the show, and he laughed, of course, and he's like, "Yeah, that's." And I told him, I said, "I'm not even on Wikipedia, so good for you. I mean, at least you made it to Wikipedia." Now that I've said it, maybe they're going to put me on there and do a hit piece on me. The U.S. Attorney for D.C. wrote that search engines such as Google prioritize Wikipedia results. How about that? So Google is under antitrust and so forth, and I believe that's one of the reasons why a lot of us are back on YouTube, and we're able to actually talk about some things on YouTube now. If the content is biased, unreliable, or sourced by entities that wish to do harm to the United States, search engine prioritization amplifies the propaganda. Duh. So very, very interesting how the judicial system, by no longer being able to protect these criminals, is basically, it's amazing. So chemtrails, task force makes first major geoengineering arrest in U.S. Now, I can't absolutely say this is factual, but I'm just reading through it. So, of course, they, for many decades, they said hidden in plain sight. We all saw chemtrails, but they said, that's a conspiracy theory. So behind the ridicule, behind the denial, something sinister was taking shape. And now we're seeing, this covert cross-agency unit activated just weeks ago under HSS, I think HSS, but under RFK Jr. Is that HSS? But so anyway, whatever department he's in, I can't think of it right now. So he and his top person, they're basically putting together groups, and it's very, very cool. So fact checkers and so forth, they flood the comments as they're probably doing right now. Hopefully, my troll slayers are out there, taking care of business. But it's tough to get good information out here because you're always attacked, or your channels are shut down, or you got fact checkers come in all across social media. It's crazy. So it's the evidence, I guess, is out there, and there's actual pilots working for the Air Force, and I think they're contractors. That's what they're saying here. So contracting companies for the military working for the Air Force are coming in and doing this. All right, Nicole Shanahan, RFK Jr.'s former running mate for vice president, confirmed the task force was formed in the HHS and has since branched out into multi-agency investigatory body. So they talk about how there's an admission that federal agency, including National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA, have been targeted with precision. Key sub-agencies gutted and probed for further leads. So the Chemtrail Task Force is turning its attention to key player to a key player in the spraying operations, the U.S. military, and more specifically, the Air Force. So the contractors, like I talked about. So obviously, this is nothing short of staggering. And so farms are being targeted. So again, this is a communist thing. They go after the food supply. There's aluminium that has been falling, and it's been increasing in massive numbers throughout the farmlands. There was one, I saw this one article where this farmer had done studies, and he did a study like 5 years ago, and he did a study to now on the aluminum is extremely high on his property compared to what it was 5 years ago. So obviously, aluminum is not good for the brain, right? It causes Alzheimer's. All right. So 2 military contractors have been arrested for their role in piloting aircraft that were caught in the act, spraying highly toxic chemtrails over Florida skies. So, Florida just passed a bill. You can't do that anymore. And I came out on the internet on shows, and I was like, well, they started spraying again in Florida, because I said I predicted they'll start spraying Florida skies again. I was down in Mexico at the time. I was down there for a week, and then I came back, and I was back for several days. I was like, yeah, the skies are beautiful. And then they started spraying again. Sure enough. So maybe this is from that. I don't know. So that's this is a task force who wants to take this seriously. They need to follow the trail up the chain of command. So they're getting the low-level bubbles right now, and they're going to just, have a little chat with them, waterboard them. I don't think so. Probably I would, but I've been waterboarded, and I know how waterboard works. I've done it a few times myself in training, but it is in training, not for real, but it is very, very effective, and you won't lie, right? You'll tell the truth, unless you break the waterboard like I did. And I was one of only just less than a handful over the course of there was like this one military organization that did that training in their history. So I was only one of a few people that was able to break that. So I'm not going to tell you how I did that. I've done it in the past, but I'm not going to tell you now because who knows, maybe that needs to be utilized again. So it is very interesting how I change conversations in midstream to basically throw things off, right? To truly shut this down, the task force has to go higher, all the way to the toppity top. They need to investigate the Pentagon. Yes, the Pentagon should not be left out. The Pentagon that was hit by a missile, not a airliner, right? In 9/11. So obviously some serious problems going on there. Has been for a long time. The Pentagon should have been done away with after World War II was ended, but it stayed. And that's just badness all the way to the day. And we've had, some people that have been all the way down to the Brad Wozny, who does, he's got his own show. He does a great job. And he has this one show where he just recently talked with a gentleman. I didn't see it, but they're talking about how there should be a conservative guy winning tomorrow in Canada, so that things will be turned around like it have been happening and here in the United States with Trump. So hopefully you Canadians don't get distracted by people running through crowds and with vehicles, and you get out there and vote. You're like, Canadians are like, I'm not going to go vote. There's people out there running people over. Be brave, Canadians. Vote for a conservative. Good luck out there. All right, so that's one of the things we're seeing right now. We're seeing, like I said, across the board, a lot of people being taken down. A lot of people, judicial system basically is collapsing on the deep state, and it's going to be very effective, I believe, in the future in taking down a lot of these people. And some of these people, of course, will be arrested. All right. So lots of love to you guys. Look forward to seeing more of you in the future. Get involved with this channel. So give it a thumbs up. Share it where you can. It makes a difference in the future, our future, if we can work together to basically take down the deep state. All right. Lots of love, and I'll see you guys next time.